Hey guys, this is Drakkalan bringing you another Heroes of War Counterattack video. Today we're talking about Tarak. Tarak right now is the current banner hero. Anytime I mention banner hero, what we're talking about is the events and summoning events they typically have going on inside of a game. Usually these events have extra rewards or extra chances or an extra potential chance to get a specific hero. Getting some lag issues. Let's see what's up. Oh, because I took too long. Alright, so with that being the case, let us go down to the bottom and go to card draw. Right, so in this game, you're not actually summoning the hero. The heroes are usually pretty easy to unlock with gems, crystals, or in-game reward for completing so far in the scenario or specific dungeon events. So it's free to play in some aspects of that. So right here, this is the Tarak banner, right? So they're celebrating that he's here. I guess he's considered a new hero, but you know, for us, he's been here since day one. Right, so basically saying we have a rate up to get the SSR card. Only the skill cards of the mercenaries in your possession will be obtained, so that's nice. It's not going to give you SSR cards for heroes you don't have. The appearance and rate of the skill card that the selected mercenary uses increases. There's also down here at the bottom, right? I always, like I've said in my other videos, recommend you doing the 10 draw because you get that guaranteed SR. It's just a better use of resources. That way you're getting more than one thing that you necessarily need. If we're looking at this image on the right side, you have a image of Tarak himself. You have his SSR card in the middle, and then you have his exclusive equipment to the right. And we'll go into these in detail because I do have all of these right now. In order to get access to this specific hero, though, you have to summon the card through this event, and that is the unlock criteria for him. And I'm wondering if they're going to follow that in future instances of adding new heroes. Where it would force us to spend gems, which forces us to basically dip into our pockets and spend some money on the game. So you may want to save your gems for that and energy refills only. So we'll back out of this for now, and let's go take a look at the hero itself. Or a mercenary in this game. Alright, so there's Amy. She's one of the most highly invested heroes I've got right now. Tarak is probably the second. So if I look at his skills, right, looking at this screen, he's got a 4.7 rating right now. Don't take these hero ratings too seriously this early in the game. A lot of people don't really know. They don't have good enough gear. They don't have the proper teams built to really test out each individual hero yet. So take these with a grain of salt. But if you do click on that little shield to look at it, you can see where people are rating them and how they're rating them. 5 being the highest. You can get 5 stars in each category of story, mercenary mission, and arena. And then you can see where some of these people are posting. Too much power, you can charge your phone while you play, blah, 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 blah. And people trying to tell you how to build them, speed set, attack, crit damage, crit rate, make him fast and strong, and they just kind of keep going through. A lot of that's not really useful information, and 2 days ago, there's no way these people had him high enough level to really say what he needed to be built as. But I'll tell you what he needs to be built as, right? Because mine's level 37 out of 40. We'll have him 40 probably later today. If you look at the exclusive equipment that you get for these heroes, you're going to find out how you should build them. So if we click on this exclusive equipment, Tarak's Thunder Spear gives him an extra 1530 HP, which is always nice. Exclusive property creates an additional thunder that inflicts damage by 50% of the skill damage when using current emission. And then down here at the bottom, it says Indomitability and Violent. It's a 2-piece set and a 4-piece set. This is how you should be building your Tarak, so that you can get these additional benefits, right? So you don't have to build them this way. It's just the way that I built them because this is the recommendation from the game. In all honesty, I'll probably end up building mine Violent crit set. I can't remember what the crit set's called in this game, but it's a 2-piece set and it gives you a 12% boost to your crit rate. The reason I'm going to do that is because the crit rate on this hero is extremely low. Let's see if we can get it to pull up. Trying to see where the stat. All right, so his crit rate right now is 14%. Right, that's terrible. We're never going to crit reliably with 14%. Typically, your crit rate starting out, you would want to go 75%, and then try to get it as close to 100% as you can after that, while boosting your attack and your crit damage as high as possible. You also want to have a little bit of accuracy on Tarak so he can land his debuff. Alright, talking about his skills, I want to do a comparison real quick and show you guys how the cards in this game work, right? The cards in this game are very important. So if we click on change, right, I've got a bunch of these SR cards and R cards. So you can get varieties of cards at all ranks, right? You got R, SR, SSR. The SSR gives us his God of Thunder ability. That's how it unlocks it. That's why it's recommended that you base your hero pool off of which SSR cards that you've drawn. I've got a 1-star on mine because I had 2 of him as the SSR, so I fed it into there to boost his attack, right? That's why this trait level 1 is activated. So the more cards of the same level that you put into here are going to power up everything else as you go, and that's how you get some of the additional effects. Right, so right now it's got a thunder ability, immune to electric shock, and then it increases his penetration rate by 30% when attacking an enemy under electric shock, which is one of his skills. You'll see he lands it constantly, right? And he does a line attack, and he does an AoE attack, so it helps a lot. And we use the SR card that's level 1. I thought I had the level 20, but apparently I don't, just to do a comparison. The SSR is only level 6, but you can see the huge stat difference between the two, right? You've got plus 100 attack here, plus 24, 64 defense versus 16, and then 644 HP versus 154 HP. This is where you start to see heroes really branch off and take a difference. This is how you can actually test them and see if they're viable. So it's hard to gauge the functionality and usability of a hero in different game modes until you've really started looking at what they will become in game and not what they are starting out. Plus the damage modifier, right? That percentage is going to add up. Right now with 3 and 4-star gear, it's not a huge deal, but when we get that 5 and 6-star gear, it's going to make a drastic difference as those base stats get higher and higher. So as you can see, it's about a 10 to 20% difference depending on if it's been powered up with the traits on top of those base stats, and then there's no skill at the bottom of this SR card. If we click on R, which is the lowest tier, even bigger difference, right? And so this isn't that important on Tarak, since to get him you have to summon his SR card. But on all your other heroes that you can unlock, just notice the difference, and this is why you're going to end up feeding these cards into them to try to level up the traits on each individual ability, right? So our S2 current emission is upgraded at 1%, right? So if you see the yellow numbers at the bottom, right, increases the skill range and the skill range and electric shock rate by 65%, right? So we gained 4% to it from what it was. We stand to gain another 15% to 80, and then we gain another 20% to 100 the more that it goes into this. If you look at some of these other abilities, you see the same thing at the bottom, and we'll look at the skills in a second to see what the rest of them are. Rage card is selective based off of what you personally want. Right now I have fast supporter because it gives him a damage boost of 27.3%, and then it also gives him nice high base stats. And the only reason I'm using this card is because it's the best card I had at the time. And having that increased speed to my supporter just means the supporter's going to be able to heal more often. But it's really up to you. Like, typically, I'm just going to go with whatever gives me the highest attack rating. Like this Rage card, attack signal increases the attack of all allies by 5% for 2 turns when the battle begins. So that'll be pretty nice to have. I'll probably put that on somebody else, just so my team gets that attack buff as soon as we start the round. Alright, so we've talked about cards, we've talked about Tarak himself. If we back out of this screen, right, let's talk about equipment. Well, I guess we can look at this, right? So fast supporter, that's where that second ability comes from. If you're looking at the bottom of the screen where the abilities are too, right? Like the God of Thunder is highlighted, that's what we're talking about. If we go to Amy, because I don't have her SSR card, it's grayed out. So she's not at her full potential yet because we don't have any passive skill that we can apply, right? So to unlock her defense signal passive that fires the first bullet to the enemy with the highest attack and decreases the attack for 1, 2, or 3 turns, we have to get that SSR card, and that's what we're trying to work up towards. I think Amy's going to be overpowered when she gets fully built. She's got stun, she's got attack down, AoE hits, and she hits from the back, so she's not going to be taking a lot of damage. As you can see, I've put a lot of effort into her, but we'll make another video on her next. If we look at Tarak's abilities, right? So to power these guys up, you have to collect these badges. You can get these by farming scenario. I would say you probably get 1 to 2 every 10 runs if you're lucky. Sometimes you don't get any, sometimes you get 2, sometimes you get 1, but typically you get 1 to 2 every 10 runs. So it's pretty intensive on your energy. And it even tells us at the bottom where exactly we get it from. We get it from Battle Center reward, we can purchase it from the Mercenary shop, purchase it from the Guild shop, and then Story reward. I wouldn't spend the Mercenary points and the Guild points on this unless you just really need it, because there are other items in those areas that you need to be purchasing predominantly. But once you get higher level and you're earning plenty of points, then you can start using those. But the Battle Center reward is a daily reset. You get 4 tickets a day to do it. Whenever I do my Battle Center right now, I'm only farming for 1 hero at a time. right? I picked out Amy to be my predominant DPS, and that's who, every time this battle center resets per day, I just go ahead and get all the highest stage that I can clear, then I get all the medals for her so I can upgrade her base stats. Tarak will be my next hero that I do that for, and I'm basing that off of who I have the SSR cards for, because they have passive abilities which are going to help them be a lot stronger to begin with. Story reward, I've spent tons of time farming story, right? Because I'm getting XP, I'm getting gold, I'm getting gear that I can disassemble to make new gear out of, and I'm getting badges. So if I'm XP farming, I'm doing it in scenario for the badges that I want. If you can look down here, so you got basic attack, basic defense, HP, attack speed, crit rate, penetration rate. These stats change a little bit depending on the type of hero. Because he's an attack-based hero, that's why we have attack-based substats. If we look at, say, Maria, who is a healer, a supporter, you have, instead of crit increases, you've got crit resistance. Instead of crit damage, you have crit damage defense. Instead of penetration, you have effect accuracy. So those are like the quick differences. Plus, you see some of the base stats are higher in certain categories than in others. So if we go back to Tarak, click on crit rate. Right, so we need one of one badge to attempt to power this up, right? So the outer circle on this will fill up with a white bar that eventually turns gold and then creates it. So we'll try to do that with the one badge I've got, right? So we succeeded. You can fail where it doesn't do the entire fill. And then you have to use these promotion materials, which are craftable. I made another video about that, but you just go into you click craft, you go into your conversion building, and you convert your XP potions into these promotion materials. I recommend not using your XP potions for leveling, but use them for creating these ability amplifiers until you don't need anymore, and then obviously you can use the potions for whatever you want. We hit promotion, and you're going to see it upgrade from C to B, right? So now we're in an upper rank. I'm not sure what the max rank is. I'm going to guess SSR, like everything else, because Amy, I have at SS. Hopefully today I will max out one of these skills, and then I'll make a video about her and show you how high we can take it. And that's what I would do. And if you were using these guys as an attacker, then I would definitely raise the attack skills first, and then go back and raise the defense HP skills last. Same thing with your tanks. If you're using Magnus as your tank, then I would raise his tanking ability first, and then I would go in and raise his other skills, right? So it's like a recovery amount. Very important. You want to keep him alive, so we would just power that up. And it's not a lot, right? We're getting like 1%, 2% per upgrade. But over the course of the battle, it really makes a difference. So, where do we want to use Tarak at? Right now, with this being early game, he's pretty good everywhere. I like to use him in Arena, especially. And I guess we could talk about his skills a little bit. I thought there was a different menu for it, but yep. So Thunder Spear, which is a skill 1, inflicts damage to the enemies by 39% of the attack 2 times and grants the electric shock effect for 3 turns with a 50% chance. Alright, so keep in mind, right, so you see that 39% of the attack. That means you want to build him with attack stats. You don't want to build him as a tanky hero necessarily, even though his exclusive equipment wants him to have that indomitability set. Just not that important, right? You'd be better off building him with crit rate. Nope. So his S2, current emission, inflicts damage to the enemies by 99% of the attack. Again, you see that of attack, so you want to have his attack as high as possible. And grants the electric shock effect for 3 turns with a 50% chance. And then his S3, electric field, inflicts damage to the enemies by 60% of the attack and pushes them back. So having that pushback is very useful in certain dungeons where if the hero or if the enemy is too close to you, they're going to one-shot you. So you want to have some pushback to where you can kind of control where they are and make sure they're not going to one-shot 3 or 4 of you at a time. Creates electric field on Tarak to decrease the damage of the skills that the enemy uses outside of the skill range on the allies by 50% for 1 turn. So what that's saying is if you are inside of that electric field and they try to damage you but they're not inside the field, it acts kind of I think more of a force field, right? It's going to lower the damage that you take from the enemy team. God of Thunder. So it makes him immune to electric shock and increases his penetration rate by 30% when attacking an enemy under electric shock. And then, of course, we've got this lightning. Absorbs electric shock granted on the enemies and moves to the enemy with the lowest HP to inflict damage by 280% of the attack. Lightning will strike per electric shock absorbed to inflict additional damage by 20% of the attack, max 100%, and spread up to 5 electric shocks, including electric shock granted. So the rage ability is what you see whenever they do their cinematic. So we'll run him through a battle real quick and I'll show you guys. And it's so when you put those electric shock effects on him, You want to make sure those land so that by the time he builds up to that rage move, he's got electric shocks that he can absorb, and it's going to just increase the amount of damage that he does. And the fact that he's attacking the enemy at the lowest HP, he should kill them, right? If we look at his gear too before I take him into battle, like I said, I got him on Violent Indomitable. Not the best sets, but it is the recommended set, and I think Violent crit rate is where you want to put him for that attack boost. So we got 4 of those. Should be receiving that 35% attack bonus. The substats on this one are pretty nice because it's got HP, crit rate, crit damage, penetration rate, which is what you want to see on this guy. I wouldn't mind the HP being replaced with attack speed. The knives are flat attack for their main stat. The gloves can be percentage based, so you don't want to have a flat stat here unless you're using a 1, 2, or 3 star piece of gear, and then having a flat stat is going to be better than the percentage you can get. Here we've got attack, attack speed, and penetration rate. Don't care about the effect resistance. Defense percent as the main stat is not what we want, but this is a 4-star piece of gear. It was the only piece I had available. We'll probably move this to a tank eventually, but for now it's on him just so we can have the complete set bonus. Body piece is also a flat stat, defense. We've got attack speed, crit damage, penetration rate. Again, we need better substats, but this is what we have to work with being early game. The ring, crit damage percent. Now this is where you kind of, it depends on where you are in the game and what your stats are. Because our crit rate is so low, it is completely useless for us to have this crit damage. Right? We have like 14% crit rate. Having a boost to our crit damage isn't doing anything, but I needed to have the violent set completed. So being a broken set's not a bad thing, but I'm trying to have the proper pieces plugged in where I need them so that I don't have to keep going back and checking saying, hey, what was I supposed to put on this guy gear-wise? Alright, so attack speed, penetration rate, attack percent, really nice substats, definitely usable. Crit damage is great if we had the crit rate to back it up, but we don't. So I would prefer early game to see attack, 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 and then swap in a crit rate with 2 attacks, and then over time, once you get good enough substats, swap it to attack, crit damage, attack, or attack speed, crit damage, attack, once you get more in-game and we get these stats boosted up higher. The belt's also a flat HP. Nothing special there. And then the boot is where you get another percentage. I've got attack percent on the boots, which is what I need. That's what we want. So we should be seeing gloves attack percent, boots attack percent in the long run. We just don't have the gear to do it. Alright, so let's take him into battle and see what he does. So we'll just do story, because I got a long way to go to get through story. We're in the second tier of it. Skip over the storyline. I need to clean this up. Alright. So what I do in story is I just hit my auto button. I like running a 3-man front line, keeping my ranged DPS and supporter in the back. I hit my scroll wheel. Alright, and I like how it shows the arrows too, where we're going to attack. So Tarak's on the top. And you'll see that he's going to try to line himself up to hit multiple enemies at a time as we go into this battle. If you guys made it this point in the video, please like, subscribe. I'm going to keep making content for this game and Kingdom of Heroes. Alright, so I'm running an auto right now. There he goes. You'll see him put electric shock on 2 enemies. He went in a straight line. Let me slow this down. So this game is going to be pretty competitive, I think, PvP-wise. Anytime you see a game like this where they actually have the AoE circles and you have position control of your own units plus skills that do AoE damage or they do straight line attacks, that's when you have to start really thinking about, well, do I want to knock this guy back so he can't touch my healer, or things along that line. Like right here, they've got their tank up front. These 2 little guys in the white lab coats with the wings out the back. They do a speed buff, an attack buff, so typically we would want to click on them and focus them down first. I'm hoping Tarak will do his rage move in a second, but he needs to have some electric shock on there first. See, that's an rage ability right there, but it's not Tarak. I gotta find a hero that can do attack speed up and an attack boost for my team instead of the enemies getting it right. So they resisted the electric shock, but he'll probably end up using his rage skill without it being applied if Amy doesn't finish everything off first. There's our tank's rage ability. Most of my team is on swift set, or I'm sorry, dash set in this game, which increases their attack speed, which means their action gauge goes up faster. Yeah, so Tarak didn't really do anything on this one. We'll do one more fight, and we'll just keep it on ×2 speed so you guys can see. Skip over some more story and hit start. Getting ready to go work out, so I'm doing that pre-workout. My girlfriend's in the studio right now recording a song, so I can't really get in there. Basically, our garage has both. I got a room in there that's built, that's air conditioned, that she uses as a studio. But if I go in there clanging, banging weights, it's gonna interrupt her recording process. I wonder if I can just auto select it. Let's turn off auto battle. Am I not close enough? What are we doing? It's not letting me move anybody, so that's kind of weird. Yeah, we don't get it. I don't think we're gonna get it this time. Yeah, we didn't. We're too strong, guys, for story mode. Still got the boss battle. What if I select? Nope. You got the little orange gauge to the right that shows you how fast it's filling up, so he should be ready on the next turn. Hopefully Miles here can live long enough to show off our abilities. If everybody else would stop raging for a second. Alright, no electric shock. There it is right there. That's his rage ability. And it deals a lot of damage. It would have been higher than 5306 if we had actually had electric shock on Miles to absorb and increase that damage. And there's Amy. Watch Amy just destroy him. Alright guys, well, sorry about the video being so long-winded. I was really hoping we would get to see his ability where he absorbs it and the kind of damage output he can do. We may make another video later once we get decent runes and see if we can't make some one-shot videos. It's always fun to do those. I know everybody enjoys them. But I'll see you guys later. I'll be coming back with the Amy video probably later today or tomorrow.